Incoming transmission.
The Klingon word of the day is Hov.
These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise.
So, this is a huge victory for the good guys.
Scotty, beam me up.
Resistance is futile. Live long and prosper.
Boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings and welcome to the Computer Resume podcast, the show covering the entire Star Trek franchise in chronological order for fans new and old. I'm your host, writer, comedian, Mr. Todd A. Davis. Now, some say that man is an artist. Others, a genius. There are even those who say he's a simple cowboy. But to you and me, he's our guest on the big show. It's J. Chris Campbell, yeah!
Hey, howdy, partners and
Howdy.
partner-ats out there. And
Okay, first question.
Yes,
How was my Sam Elliott impression?
that was really good. I was not expecting that at all, so I was surprised, and it definitely was better as you got into the layer of it for sure. So yeah, it was really good.
That's so sweet of you to lie.
No.
How have you been, man? It's been like it's been a few months since you've been on the show. What you been up to?
It's been like 2 seasons, right?
I think so. It's been a good long while. Yeah. Now,
yeah, it's just stuff's going on.
Yeah. Still working and arting and creating.
Yep, I have been doing more graphic design and illustrating stuff for, clients, and not a lot for myself, which is, it's okay, but it pays the bills and keeps me busy. So
exactly. It's kind of, there's worse jobs to have.
There is absolutely worse jobs to have.
There's been times where I've talked with people who are artistically inclined, and they've said something to me about, I'd rather, and I to a degree, I understand the sentiment of like, I don't want to work for someone else. I just want to do my art the way I want to do my art.
Yeah.
And part of me really respects that.
Right.
At the same time, it's kind of like, okay, I hope you like working retail. Like, I mean,
I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I was like, you know what? I can't think of anyone that I personally know that I'm on like a, first name hangout basis with, that's an artist who completely supports themselves with the art that they want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes so much. It takes so much to get to that level.
Yeah. It really does. It's a rare thing.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't, this isn't news to anybody. I'm not,
right.
I'm not breaking anything. I'm not breaking any sort of news, but like we spoke with the voice of the USS Protostar, Bonnie Gordon, back at the holidays, who still has a full-time job. Like,
really?
He's on Star Trek.
He's
and
on
still
Star
has
Trek.
Yeah.
Wow.
And still has a full-time job. Like, voiceover artists, visual artists, actors, podcasters. I had a full day. To be honest. A little peek behind the curtain. We had some scheduling. We had to rearrange the schedule a little bit because we were actually supposed to record last night. Today is the March 8th. We were actually supposed to record on Monday, the 7th, but things changed. We had to reschedule. Not a big deal. Not the first time it's happened. No problems. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just, go to work and it'll be a normal day. And I showed up at work and we had to go to court that day because we had a big trial starting. And I was like, okay, well, it's a government, this is a government thing. It's, we're starting a trial. This is in a courthouse. We're going to be done 5 o'clock. I'm going to be out of here by 5:15, 5:30 at the latest. 5 o'clock rolls around, 5:30 rolls around.
Oh,
6:00 rolls around. 6:30 rolls around.
What?
We didn't get out of the courthouse until 20 minutes to 7.
You're kidding.
I wish I was kidding. I was so tired.
Oh my goodness.
It was the longest day because I was there at about my boss was there at 8:30 in the morning. I didn't get there till probably closer to 11, just because of preliminary type stuff going on. But yeah,
right.
I put in a full day of
I didn't realize that. Yeah, like court. I thought that was like a cut and dry kind of, this is when it's going to happen, this is when it's going to end kind of thing.
Most of the time they will kind of like, hey, it's 5:15, like let's go ahead and cut it off, because it's not just like two lawyers and the judge. You've got the judge, you've got the judge's assistant, you've got the stenographer, you got the person controlling the screens, and that's just people in charge, not to mention 2 or 3 bailiffs,
right?
2 or 3 security
the
guards.
Entire building.
Yeah, I mean, for like one case going on, there's at least a dozen people involved. If you don't have a jury, if you've got a jury, that's at least another 12 to 15 people, and 2 security guards to wrangle all those people.
It's interesting that you're talking about this stuff too, because it ties right into the beginning of the episode when we get to it. Oh, yeah. How there wasn't really a jury or anything there.
Yeah, because
for that, right?
Yeah. And, in talking about, when you start reading through, the laws and legal practices of just this country, which our legal system is still based on common law out of England, there's still so much of it that kind of has this Wild West feel to it of like, really, that's still a law? I don't think there are buggies anymore. Like, things like that. And it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But before we get into today's episode, I wanted to bring something up that you mentioned before we started rolling. Last time you were on the show, I put forth a very heartfelt plea to you to start to watch Lower Decks.
Oh, yes, dude.
Did you do your homework?
Yeah, I did my homework, and I am so glad that you assigned it. So thank you very much for the recommendation. I was not probably going to check it out, but I did, and I was not disappointed. The callbacks to things in that show alone is worth sitting through. Yes. Not just the humor. The humor, it's written amazingly.
Yes.
Honestly, it's surprising just how well it's done.
Yeah.
And whoever's, I mean, it's crazy how much they wedge into it with the referencing, the next generation stuff pretty heavily. But like even in one of the episodes, they're running through the museum with all this stuff around it, and there's a giant Star Trek skeleton hanging from somewhere in a blue shirt. And I'm like, what in the world is that? Like, I can't figure out what this is. But in another episode, they referenced a character who was from the Star Trek cartoon. Uh-huh. And I was like, I bet you money that giant skeleton is from the Star Trek cartoon in some way.
It just might be.
My friend Dwayne, and he said there was a giant Spock apparently in something in the cartoon or something.
Yeah.
That was like I don't know what exactly, but
it's so funny because I always tell people, and I think I may have even mentioned this to you when you were on last time, that Lower Decks is very much the Lego Batman movie, where it is a Batman movie, but it's made clearly for Batman fans. Lower Decks is the same way. It is, I mean, it's very accessible to new viewers, but with all the
you don't have to know that that's what that is when they're running. I mean, I didn't know.
Right.
It didn't affect it other than me going, that has to be a callback.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And you're absolutely right. When it comes to the writing is so concise. And I've spoken at length about this on other episodes with other folks. They cram so much development and plot into 22 minutes. It is impressive.
It is really impressive. And they have to be using the same like model that Rick and Morty use? Like there's some sort of, the writing circle
I think
progression thing where they know exactly the beats and everything. They just have to shoehorn all the other stuff kind of into that.
I would love to see sort of a television writing masterclass looking at the Rick and Morty structure versus or complemented with the Star Trek writing structure, because those two things you wouldn't think would jive, but Lower Decks showing you that it can be done and it works, and it works well. I think and I've mentioned this a couple of times. There's a link to, and I'll put it in the notes again this week. There was an article from Wired, probably mid to late 90s, but it's still out there, and it's a great read of how to write Star Trek and what turned into a writer from Wired going to the set. I think it was initially meant to be like a day on the set of Star Trek.
Right. Yeah.
It turned out to be like them spending most of their time with the executive producers and in the writing room, writer's room, going through the whole process. And it's really fascinating in terms of creating this thing that we're so familiar with. They put a paragraph at the beginning of that article. It's just said, hey, just read the following pitch. And you read it. And as I'm reading it, I get about half, okay, that's cool. That's cool too. Yeah, that's cool. And I just keep reading and I go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. No, that wouldn't happen. No. And, and at the very end, the very next paragraph it said, if that paragraph didn't set off alarms from the first sentence, then you probably shouldn't write for Star Trek. I was like, wow.
That's pretty cool. They had like a test up front for you.
Right. Not to mention like all the people who consult on Star Trek. It's not their first job. It's their retirement gig after they retired from NASA or MIT. Like, just it's their side gig. It's their side hustle after they retired. But you know what? Getting back into this episode, in terms of the franchise, this is kind of the first really unique departure from the typical setting. I mean, we've seen things in different settings, like I believe we covered
the Old West.
Yeah, the Old West setting is sort of a staple for the franchise. But we've seen in the episode Carbon Creek, we saw a flashback to the 1960s, which was a lot of fun, or 1950s, I forget. But what is it that really draws you in about the Old West setting? I think we touched on this a little bit last time you were here.
We were talking
why the Old West episodes.
That's why, for sure, that I'm glad you had me back for this one, because I am a fan of the Old West.
Yes.
I'm not sure what it is about it that it's weird, because even in the Star Trek, they do it. I'm trying to think of the original series episodes where they touch on the Old West.
I think there was one where they show up at like the OK Corral.
Yes. Okay, that's it.
I forget the name of it.
So there's of course all through the franchises. There's one, and even the weird Worf Western stuff and Next Generation.
Fistful of Datas, I believe.
So so in Star Trek itself, the Western is a big deal. To have a Western episode, I think is for them. And for me, just growing up and through the 70s and everything, reruns of Westerns, my mom and dad are always like Western people, so like it was kind of there all the time as this mythological thing, like not as a thing that actually happened, like the Old West.
Right.
It was like sci-fi and Westerns, And so, and recently my wife has been on a big Western kick and watching Paladin, pretty good. And Paladin, which is Half Gun Will Travel, is the name of the show. Paladin is the character on the show.
Okay.
Well, so she's been watching those, and they're really amazingly written. He's kind of like a lawyer, guy. He's a gun for hire, and he goes into these places and basically is hired to, either to kill somebody or to do something. And then he gets in there and figures out the problem and kind of mediates it to as much as he can. There's some gunfights and stuff, but of
course.
But anyway, Roddenberry wrote a ton of Paladin episodes, a bunch of them.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
So it's like you got your Captain Kirky kind of person that you can kind of feel moving over into Star Trek too. So that's a neat little Western tidbit that connects to Star Trek too. And of course, Star Trek being a Western voyage thing, like from the time period.
Frontier. They say it in the opening, the opening monologue. Yeah. The final frontier. So, absolutely. I think, and unfortunately I didn't do enough research on this, but I believe back in the day, Westerns were actually cheaper to produce.
Oh yeah.
Because in terms of sets, costumes, most of the cast were also stunt performers.
Yeah.
And, horses and things like that, you could get pretty much any kind of horse and it's a horse. Like,
right. Yeah.
They were fairly cheap to produce. And, if you get, one decent actor in there who can kind of carry over into either a series or maybe a short series of films, I think it ended up becoming very popular with Italian cinema, which is where you get the term spaghetti Western.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
And again,
the movies.
My co-host on Cinema Shock, Justin Bishop, the historian of all things cinema, could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, the Western. I mean, from watching TV from when I was coming up, the reruns were Westerns and family shows. So if you wanted some action, there was no science fiction hardly. It was, you'd have Lost in Space that had a robot in it that you could watch some. Yep. And then you'd have Twilight Zone, which was weird stuff that was neat. But I mean, most of the other stuff, you got some sitcoms, but if you wanted action, then you'd have to watch a Western for sure.
If you strayed over into PBS, you might catch some Doctor Who.
That's right. I got through it all without. My mom kept saying, "You should watch this Doctor Who thing. Look, isn't this interesting?" And I'm like, "That guy's got broccoli in his coat. I don't know what's going. Why is his scarf so long?" And like, if she just showed me the robots, then if I had seen one Dalek. What is it? Dalek. See, I'm a terrible Doctor Who fan.
It's okay. Just remember, a little Dalek will do you.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. A little Dalek will do me. Perfect. I don't even think I have a Dalek in my whole. That's a shame. That's terrible.
I was gonna say,
I know if I get started, that's too vast of a universe to get into. If we're talking about Star Trek.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've talked with a number of folks from the UK who are just, and that's always been the discussion. I always, because I equate it in my mind of Star Trek being the American Doctor Who. They both started at roughly the same time. Adventures not too dissimilar from each other, but yeah, and looking at those types of things, it's funny because I think it's actually easier to get on board with Doctor Who than it is Star Trek, because Doctor Who was short bursts, like especially starting off, it was a lot of a series would maybe be 5 or 6 half-hour episodes.
No way.
It was that, and then nothing for a year. And then they would do it again. It wasn't until more recently that they started doing the 12 to 14, 15 episode series
You're
arcs.
kidding me.
And one story was one episode. That was it. You know, most of those 5 and 6 episode arcs were one story.
What?
And yeah. And you know, with
wait a second, the black and white ones are like that.
Yeah.
There's only like 6 episodes per season, and I always assumed they were like us, where it's like, okay, here's season 1. There's like 50 episodes from that time, you know, like the old series in the US is those things.
Oh yeah, 20 to 25. That's a season.
No problem. Yeah.
Well,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
It's so funny that the way the Brits did stuff versus the American way, and now with streaming, there seems to be sort of a blending of the two, where when you look at, and again, we'll go back to Star Trek here, you look at things like Picard or Discovery, and it's not 22 to 25 or 26 episodes. Now it's 12 or 13 or 14, like somewhere right around in there. And it's tight. And that story pushes forward like there's no fillers. Yeah. There's no filler episodes. There's no throwaways.
There's no clip show.
Exactly. There's no, hey, we're stuck in an elevator. Remember that time? And roll the video package. Like there's none of that.
Yeah.
Like, I think, you know, in terms of creating, you know, you can probably speak to some of this, is, you know, I think it's better to have 12 episodes that are super tight and really well refined than 20 to 25 episodes of something where, we really phoned it in on this one.
Right.
I mean,
I'm curious to know though, and it seems like it would be that way, but if you do have those extra kind of ones in there, might allow for a little bit of, you know, play. Who's to say that episode with Barkley in it from Next Generation may not have happened because they couldn't fill it, and they're like, no one can shoot, and we need this guy, and how about let's use, you know, like, was that a plan for that, or did he just slide in there and everybody had a fit, and they're like, get him back, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think it allows for happy accidents, but I can definitely see as a storytelling thing goes. I think, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's fun to see now, you know, with the episodes being so tight, and Star Trek was actually really good about this a long time ago, probably more with the original series and maybe a little bit of Next Gen, but mostly with the original series, accepting scripts on spec. You know, they got sent so many fan submissions that, and of course they read them. And if they ended up accepting the thing, you got a check and your name was in the credits. Like if they, even if it was, I mean, it might not have been the full script, but if they took
stuff, that's cool.
If they took ideas and stuff like that, they'd give you a credit, shoot you a check for it. And now that's the flip side when you've got something that's 10 to 12 episodes and you've got these writers who, you know, the writers' rooms, it's not just a bunch of like, oh, I need a writing job. It's like, no, these are accomplished writers.
Yeah.
These are like really good writers.
Yeah. They were hired for this, like specific. We didn't put an ad out and they walked in the door, that we went and found these guys.
Exactly. But yeah, to get back to it, this is a unique episode. And I really love a solid cold open that just throws you. And when you sit down to watch Star Trek and then you see them stringing this dude up and he's got these weird ridges on his face and boom, he's hung dead.
Yep.
Like, and then the music starts. It's funny because it's like, wow. I mean, because you think, I hope that wasn't anybody important. Or
right.
Like,
you're like, what
is going on?
Right.
And to be honest, I think this is the first time the remix of the music actually kind of fits the tone of the show.
You know, I was checking that out. What happened was I went to watch it, and some reason I watched the one before it, which is, I guess you would have just done it, Twilight or whatever is the name. So I started watching that one going, wait a second, is this how does this go into the Western thing?
Uh-huh.
And it has an opening like that where he wakes up and he's like, oh, what's going on? I'm the captain. No, and he goes up to the bridge and all that happens.
Yeah.
And then that's the song started, and that's the first time I heard the remixed version of that. Like, I guess I just blocked it out because I would skip it or whatever. And I was like, wait, and I listened to the entire thing this one time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to be, I'm going to have to ask if that's for sure different. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not watch it within the context of the Western one, because by the time I got there, I was like, okay, I've seen that.
Right.
I can skip it.
I do kind of wish that they had, if you're gonna change, and then we will get into the recap and the rest of it, I promise.
Yeah. Sorry.
But if you are gonna change the theme within this iconic franchise, if you're gonna change the theme halfway through, I think you ought to just lean into it and take those harder turns of like, use different instruments so that it fits the episode, so that it fits the specific episode. I think it would have been really cool to see, instead of an electric guitar, go more acoustic. And you know what? For good measure, Trip trades for a horse with a harmonica. Throw some harmonica in there. Why not?
Do something like that. They did that. What show was I watching where they just did? Oh, Space Force. I don't know.
I love Space Force so much.
They were doing the different themes songs for Space Force or whatever, and they had a meeting, and so like the next episodes start, they have the theme songs are in the beginning of the episodes. I thought that was so perfect, such an awesome, amazing thing to do. So yeah, that would be cool to kind of theme them out, but I guess that's a lot more work.
Yeah, I love playing. I love it when they sort of play on that fourth wall. They don't break the fourth wall, but they're like, hey, we know that this is part of the show you're watching.
Yeah.
And we're going to tailor this specifically to it. I think one of the other really great gags using the opening theme as part of a joke within the show was done a lot by the sitcom Community. They did that all the time. They changed the opening theme all the time, especially for holiday episodes, the paintball episodes, and then the final episode. I think the final episode has like 20 different replays of the theme.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I mean, spoilers for Community.
No, that's fine. That's okay.
The final
You're
episode,
talking about the one that was on. It was on just online, right?
I think at that point it had gone online, but they moved. The final episode is all the characters of the show pitching the next season, the season that didn't happen. So when each of them starts their pitch, the theme song starts, and then it goes into the pitch of whatever it is that's in their head. And it's such a fun little gag. I really, really enjoy it. But let's really get into it. And before we do, let's do this week's recap.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
UPN Wednesday. Journey to a parallel world where the Old West is still alive.
They're human. How the hell did they get here?
And advanced technology is no match for a lead bullet.
Do you have any experience fighting these animals?
Drop that, whatever it is!
Star Trek Enterprise.
While in the Delphic Expanse, Enterprise discovers a planet inhabited by 6,000 humans who are living in the fashion of the 1860s American frontier. Cowboy. Archer, Trip, and T'Pol beam down to the surface in period costume to investigate. They head into one of the numerous towns to observe the humans and aliens firsthand. While Trip and T'Pol acquire a horse, Cowboy. Archer stops Deputy Bennings from belittling a skag waiter in a saloon. Cowboy. After questioning Archer on his plans and intentions, Sheriff McReady tells Bennings to keep a close eye on Archer. Wishing to learn more about the Skagarans, Archer enters the house of a teacher named Bethany he had seen earlier. The two depart for Skagtown, the remnants of a 300-year-old wrecked spacecraft, but the deputy notices them leave. They arrive and meet Trip and T'Pol, who had arrived earlier. Trip and T'Pol travel back to Enterprise to investigate some data logs found in the wreckage, while Archer stays behind.
Meanwhile,
on Enterprise, Hoshi discovers that the humans overthrew their Skagaran masters after being brought to the planet. Bennings arrests and imprisons Bethany because she was teaching the children. Jeez. Archer helps her escape, but she's shot by Bennings. Archer orders an emergency beam up in front of Bennings and the other locals. Doc Phlox treats her injury and discovers that she's 1/4 Skagaran.
meanwhile,
Back on the planet, Bennings hands in his deputy badge after McReady orders him not to take further action against the Skagarans. Archer returns in a space bus along with T'Pol and a security crew led by Reed, all wearing their modern uniforms. Landing in the center of town, he informs the sheriff that he's from Earth and will return to help them once their mission is over. Bennings then shoots McReady.
there was a firefight!
In the chaos, Archer is also shot by Bennings, but finally overpowers him in a fistfight. Enterprise then departs, but not before returning Bethany to the surface and providing her with a pad to educate the local children about Earth's recent history.
Great.
Do you have anything to add?
Cowboy.
That's what I thought. So you mentioned the slug fight. Let's just go ahead and jump right to the end.
For the slug fight. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right to the slug fight.
Well, we're going to start because the first slug fight actually happened earlier.
Yes.
When Archer was there at the Skag encampment thing.
Yeah.
And so he gets punched one time and falls down on the ground.
Yeah.
And looks up at the guy like, oh, wow, he's going to kill me or something. Like,
yeah.
I guess there's 3 of them there. And he's kind of like, I better go along with this. I don't know what's going on. But I saw that going, okay, this is going to be a fun little fight here for at least a minute. Right? Because Archer he's done some slugging, right?
Well, this is very, anybody who, goes and looks up anything about Scott Bakula, or if you've seen the documentary, The Captains directed by William Shatner, Shatner interviews Bakula at Bakula's horse farm. So it is clear to me that I think in Bakula's research of Star Trek, he came across maybe Fistful of Datas, or when the original crew went to the OK Corral. He loves horses anyway. So I think he went into the writer's room at the beginning of season 3 of like, hey, we're going to have a Western episode this year, right?
Let's do that. We have to do that.
Because of everybody there, including the locals, he looks the most comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
In the hat and the duster.
It's so weird. Like watching that episode, it took me like a couple of times. I was like, I'm watching Quantum Leap, because that's what it felt like. Scott Bakula was dressed as someone else, walking around doing something.
Yeah, very much.
And like he was having to pretend to be that person. So he felt very, for sure, comfortable in that environment, doing that, and saddling up to the bar and all the line. Honestly, I don't know if it's because I was fine with it being a Western. I didn't see any like terrible cheeseball things. It was like, that's kind of, it just all felt like it should have been that way. Except for when he got punched the one time and falls down. And then later he gets shot and then goes and has a brawl fight with the same guy. I wish that had counted how many times he got hit that time and got back up. They fought so much, they rolled under a horse. And that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yes. Oh.
Have you ever seen they were fighting and rolled under a horse? And I was like, someone's going to get hurt.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what a dangerous place to be in, because that horse has to weigh close to 1,000 pounds.
You don't do that.
No.
That was actually him. Maybe that was his horse. That had to have been his horse.
It might have been.
That's how they got that shot. I mean, honestly, I've seen not a ton, but I mean, I've never seen guys just fighting up under a horse like that. It was crazy. Especially someone who's gotten shot and also,
right.
I mean, slugged. And what was the deal earlier, man?
Well, I mean, I think that's the fun part about, okay, these locals don't know, the local bad guys don't know the whole, oh, hey, your shoe's untied, which is essentially what Archer did. You know what? I almost made it out of town. I completely forgot something. Bam! Like, right. The dude. Like, yep. Okay, that's probably the one time that's going to work. Now, the one thing I will say is I do feel like this was a little out of character, because we know Archer as born in upstate New York, water polo player. Like, he's not the cowboy guy. Trip is. And Trip, Southern boy, although it is funny,
yeah,
he can't ride the horse. I love the little sheepish look on his face, trying to get the horse to go.
I was trying to figure out why T'Pol and Trip were even in it, other than to take those little things back up to the ship and get the history of the planet, because they had the whole, I mean, I guess that one, somebody must have said they gotta not know how to ride horses. That's gonna be funny. Yes, that was cool to think of that.
Yeah.
But does he play a harmonica normally? Is that his thing? Have you seen him playing? Why did he have a harmonica?
He had one. I don't know why. I don't think we've seen him play it before. That's really
You've seen him with a harmonica? It's like, I've got a harmonica. I don't have money or anything else valuable, but
I've got this harmonica. I've got this harmonica that clearly does not look like a period accurate harmonica.
It's some big like kid version of play a harmonica in 3 weeks. That's harmonica.
Funny. Yes. Oh my God.
I thought, okay, I must not know enough about Trip. He must watch those Westerns and plays a harmonica during the things, but
he is a fan of Westerns. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But I mean, there had to have been a callback for the harmonica some other time.
I mean, and spoilers for the future. At one point, I think when Trip dies, or they assume he's dead or something, I believe there's a shot of T'Pol like packing up his belongings, and I think one of the things is a harmonica.
No way.
Which again is so
There's
weird.
No way.
Because he also has a Frankenstein action figure, like,
oh, nice,
which is cool, but again begs the question,
it's like,
where the hell did you get
yeah, where'd you get that doesn't seem like figure? A thing that you definitely, if you've got a Frankenstein action figure, you know how to ride a horse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe horses don't exist anymore or something.
Maybe. Yeah. They're all, any horse in the distant future is synthetic and made out of poop, probably.
Right.
Recycled poop.
Right. They're just in museums walking around.
Oh, that's funny. The
whole concept behind the episode of it, where they captured the 6,000, or did they say how many they originally captured?
I think they said, I know in the settlement when they get there, there's 6,000, but I assume that's because they've been breeding for like a couple hundred years.
If you look at the ship that they were studying, or the Skags were like hanging out in, it doesn't look big enough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's weird to, that anyway, to think that the original concept was they took these people away to go work for them on another planet, and then they riot and, take over the planet back from them. So humans, so it was kind of interesting that they did the prejudiced, slavery thing in a different way, but also that I know someone had watched some sort of ancient astronaut theory thing about aliens coming to Earth and mining for gold and making humans to work for them on Earth and like all that kind of stuff. It felt like it branched out of that in some way. I'm guessing.
Well, I was going to ask how you felt about them speaking or basically treating the Skagarans in this Old West setting like some of the minorities were treated, at that time in Earth's history. You had obviously African Americans, and gosh, if I was a better host, I would have done more research on this sort of thing.
There's like
like the Asian Americans, building the railroad.
They have Asian bellhops in the show, which was from the early 60s. Mm-hmm. And he actually refers to them as "Hey boy" and "Hey girl," never mentions their name in the show at all. It's like, "Hey boy," and he comes up and he's like, "Can I help you do something?" And it's just weird. But yeah, so like having those minorities in there like that, it definitely fits in with the whole Western thing. Even Indians also,
Native Americans,
Americans. So it's like flipping the Native American thing around, and so it was weird to find out that the humans were originally the slaves of this, and they were, treating. So I didn't know if there was some sort of backwards kind of statement in there, like one day these people you're taking advantage of are going to come back and treat you like this kind of thing, or so.
Well, I think it would have been 20 years after the fact.
Right.
I think it would have been interesting to see, we talked about the structure of the away team being Archer, Tripp, and T'Pol. I think it would have been interesting to see Travis Mayweather or Hoshi. I mean, yes. Hoshi, they were speaking English, and it didn't seem that that the linguist would be needed.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it would have been interesting to see, at least, and of course, Travis is my favorite character from Enterprise. So I always want to see him do stuff. But I think based on the types of interactions that Travis Mayweather had when he and Archer were taken captive in that detention camp, in the internment camp, I believe Detained. Yes, Detained was the episode.
Okay.
Season 1, episode 21. I think it would have been really interesting for Travis to bring some of that stuff to light, make it, develop his, again, 20 years after the fact, but develop his character to, Archer commands the ship, but Travis is steering the boat, and let kind of his moral compass become that sort of shining beacon on, because he was born and raised in space. So the whole idea of traveling through space is kind of old hat for him. But I feel like a lot of the rest of the crew may have forgotten where they've come from, especially at this point in the show when they're fighting the Xindi. It would be nice to have someone say, you know what, don't forget where we come from, and, we're striving to protect humanity at this point in this fight against the Xindi, but at the same time, we don't want it to cost us our humanity. And we've seen Archer put somebody in an airlock and hit depressurize. Like at this point, he's becoming very, very desperate, and he's doing things that are, we'll say, less than captain worthy. Yeah. Very, very
not very captain-y.
Yeah. But I think this was maybe a missed opportunity to have.
I agree. I thought so.
Step in and say, "Hey, don't forget."
When they came back down with the shuttle, and they were coming out, and they had their security out. By the way, the fatigue-looking. Do they normally wear? Do their like shock trooper guys have outfits like that?
Well,
when did that happen?
So at the end of season 2 is when Earth gets attacked by the Xindi for the first time. And that's where like this Xindi probe shows up at Earth and basically carves a new Grand Canyon in Earth and basically kills millions of people.
Right.
So that starts this chain of events where Enterprise, of course, leading the charge, is hunting down this species known as the Xindi. And part of what they do is, of course, once Earth is attacked, Enterprise is recalled back to Earth. And long story short, they do a refit on the Enterprise, upgrade the armor, upgrade the shields, upgrade the weapons, but they also upgrade the crew. They upgrade the crew by adding what they call the MACOs. I believe it's military assault command operatives or something like that. But the acronym is MACOs, and they're basically soldiers it didn't dawn on me, like as we've been watching the franchise up until this point, with the original series, TNG, DS9, Voyager, they've all had security officers. There's always been like a chief of security. And yeah, Malcolm on the ship is the quote unquote chief of security, but he's not really the chief of security. He's the tactical officer. So he's in charge of like the weapons and the phasers and the torpedoes and things like that. But he's got like a crew of like 3 or 4 dudes, and they are weapons experts. They are not tactical like fighting guys. Right. Yeah. So that's where the MACOs come in.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at him going, okay, this is definitely something I'm not up on. I should be watching. I want to go back now that I'm seeing, listening to this stuff and watching it. And
you do end up getting into a couple of the MACOs kind of step forward and actually have speaking lines. They're not just red shirts, but
right.
At the same time, like my explanation was a very long-winded way of basically saying, yeah, we have red shirts now.
Right. Yeah.
But essentially they are the soldier element. They are the security tactical teams.
They should inform them that they can't shoot any better than the main guys. Because honestly, I was sitting through a lot of it going, are these guys gonna hit anybody? And then I think somebody said something, because they're like towards the end of the battle, they get their shots in, and so everybody gets a shot in there. Well, even T'Pol gets shot, which was like, not only is she shafted in this episode with absolutely nothing but getting up on a horse, like and finding some communication, she gets shot. I mean,
shot by Reed, who just kind of shrugs it off as like, I did it. Like that was,
oh man.
But yeah, I think, and I'm not a, tactical guy, but like, look, you're flying this big space, this space shuttle, this shuttle pod down, and everybody's looking up. Why did you not beam like 3 or 4 MACOs on like the outskirts of town and have them infiltrate?
Oh yeah, right.
They're gonna, they're gonna
happen.
Yeah, they're gonna open fire. They're gonna open fire on you. So put your MACOs outside of town and say, okay, move in. And just
these are people these people have been abducted. Their history is their families were abducted from aliens from outer space, and here comes a ship. I'm surprised everybody didn't come out with guns a-blazing instead of like the munchkins from Wizard of Oz, like sneaking out of their houses to see what has happened here. It's like, come out wherever you are. Yeah, that's what it was like. Okay, they should be bracing for action or something. But
anyway, it's just look, if you're going to send your tactical guys in, maybe come up with some tactics first.
Right.
Oh,
speaking of the tactical shooting too, I was watching the episode, and my son was doing something, and he heard the name of the main sheriff is like McCree.
Yeah,
McCree. And he was like, "Hey, is that McCree from Overwatch?" So there's a character from a video game called McCree, who's a Western guy.
Oh,
like
funny.
His thing is he's got he does 6 shooters and guns and stuff too, and he's got the same thing, which they recently changed his name because of it was named after one of the creators of the game. Anyway, it was just interesting that there was a little he was like, wait a second, I want to see what you're watching because it has to do with the video game. He's a Star Trek fan. He would have watched it too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Got him. I should have got him too, but it was a Western.
The show's for old and new, man.
That's right.
Bring in those
for
new
sure.
fans.
Yeah.
Well, as we do every week, we always lovingly ask the question, who do we blame? This episode was written by Mr. David A. Goodman, whose last episode writing was season 2, episode 19. That was Judgment. And this episode was directed by David Straighten, whose last episode directing was season 3, episode 7, The Shipment. So we've got a few guest stars here this week of some note. Miss Emily Burgle as Bethany. Her first credit was The Rage, Carrie 2 in 1999.
Nice.
She followed up with 4 episodes of Gilmore Girls as Francie Jarvis. For all you Gilmore Girl fans,
I watched all the Gilmore Girls with my wife, so I should have recognized her.
I stopped at, where did I stop watching Gilmore Girls? I stopped after Rory had sex for the first time.
Did you?
I stopped. I was just
did you start at the beginning?
Yeah. Started at the beginning.
Okay.
And just
I
got there and I was like,
and then went back and got some, and so it was kind of. I didn't.
Frequent guest of the show, Gary Horn, from the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, is a huge Gilmore Girls fan. He loves them so much. So I put that in there specifically for him. But yeah, that led Miss Burgle up to her only franchise appearance so far. After that, she's done 36 episodes of Men in Trees, 14 episodes of Desperate Housewives, 16 episodes of Southland, 21 episodes of Shameless.
Wow.
And currently, as of today, she has done 5 episodes of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel as Tessie on Amazon Prime. That's such a great show.
All right.
It's not realistic. And it is not factually based, but it is a fun show to watch. Speaking of Gilmore Girls, it was done by Amy Sherman Palladino. Same writer, showrunner. Yeah. And then we've got Glenn Morshower as Sheriff McGreedy. His first credit was something I was not familiar with, but I think I may need to look it up. It's called Drive-In from 1976. Basically, it's kind of like Empire Records and Breakfast Club. So Empire Records, a day in a record store in the 1990s. Breakfast Club, 5 kids in detention in the 1980s. Drive-In is one night at a drive-in in the 1970s. So
I want to see that.
It looks like fun. It looks like a really fun movie. After that, he did 2 episodes of Dukes of Hazzard, 1980 and 1983. And then I was
talking about Dukes of Hazzard the other day and never realized the name of that show is actually pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah?
If you I don't know why, because it was always the Dukes of Hazzard, like the Duke, because I was a kid and it was like, these are the Dukes and this is Hazzard County.
Yeah.
But it's the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dukes, and of course they were always getting into trouble.
Right.
So they were having to put up their Dukes.
Right.
And they were jumping their car over anything that was standing still. So which was a gigantic hazard.
Right.
The Dukes of Hazzard County. Absolutely. The Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, it's such a fun show. And of course, now looking at it's a little problematic, but
what is it?
Yeah, what isn't nowadays? But the Dukes of Hazzard. And he did a couple of those episodes, 1980 and 1983. And then that eventually led to his first appearance in the franchise, which was on Star Trek: The Next Generation, season 2, episode 21. This is 1989. The episode Peak Performance, where he played Ensign Burke. So you can see him in that. And then Mr. James Parks, who I absolutely love to hate in this episode.
Yeah.
He's so just you just want to reach through your screen and strangle him yourself. He's such a good bad guy. James Parks plays Deputy Bennings. If the name Parks rings a bell, that's because he is the son of Michael Quick Draw McGraw Parks from the Kill Bill movies, when Sheriff McGraw drives up to the crime scene with the dead bride and the dead bridal parties. Michael Parks gets out of the car and addresses
the hottest spots in town. Oh, that little bitty woman.
Well, give me the gore details, son number one.
Son number one is his actual son, James Parks. But
nice.
It's a fun little bit of trivia that I told my wife earlier tonight, and she did not care. Anyway,
how geeky. You're finding that fascinating.
She only likes in terms of Quentin Tarantino movies, I think she only likes Inglourious Bastards. That's the only one. She really,
he's one of those guys that's like, you either can get on board with it or not. And,
exactly. But early in James Parks' career, he had an episode of Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. That was in 1992. And he was in season 1, episode 10 of Space Above and Beyond, the episode Stay with the Dead. That was in 1995. He played a character named Shankowitz.
I bet that guy was terrible.
Yeah.
Everybody hated him.
And then he was on, he did an episode of Babylon 5. It was season 3, episode 10, Severed Dreams as Draken. That was in 1996. And that led to his first appearance in the franchise, which was on Star Trek Voyager, season 3, episode 3, The Shoot, from 1996. He played a character named Vel. So, well, do we have, before we get into our final thoughts, let me ask you this question, because unfortunately, I think I have an answer. I think we might be on the same page here. Is this episode North Star? Is this essential viewing? Does someone have to watch this episode, or will they be missing out on a huge chunk of Star Trek lore mythology?
Coming into this question, I would say, no, you don't need to see this at all, for sure.
All right.
But the more I kind of think about it, especially when they drop he actually talks about the fight currently. And so they're talking about helping humans get back to Earth and how they want to get back to Earth. And basically, in this instance, came up with a plan to not help them until everything's cool.
Right.
With everything that's going on, which in the grand scheme, like you said, you'd have to see going forward, backwards, what happens. But does that mean does he is this mentioned again? Does he leave other humans in other places and doesn't rescue them?
Right.
Because this seems like the first time that he would make that call, right? He's making it. He never even said, well, let's contact Starfleet and say, hey, they're here or anything. He's just went ahead and said, we can't bring you.
We can't put 6,000 people on the ship.
We can't send anybody to come get you. It's going to be a long time. He didn't even, we're going to send a message in a bottle to Starfleet and hopefully they'll come get you. Gave them zero hope.
Right. And in thinking about it a little bit more, there was still some Skagaran technology. If they made it into the Delphic Expanse, you might want to collect some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if not to gain some, some of the tech, at least for its historical significance, you can kind of.
They didn't even look into see where maybe they did. What the heck is this vehicle? There's got to be other.
Right. They pulled a data module out of it, but all they really got was the history of you could talk to the school teacher and find that out. Do they have better weapons?
Yeah.
Do they have better shields? Did they have a better transporter?
Yeah.
Like anything? I don't know. Again,
You're right.
You don't have 20 years after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to. I don't think you're missing any integral part unless, again, I don't know if there's any other kind of rescuing people from other planets. I would have to believe that they would say they would probably do it in any of the other episodes.
Yeah.
They would figure out something.
I think it would make a fun entry on sort of a Star Trek Western watch list.
There you go.
That would be fun.
Yes. I'm gonna make that list. I'm gonna make the Star Trek Western watch list. I'm putting it on my to-do list.
Okay,
we're gonna have that for you. I'll have it.
Okay, here's your homework, artist. Do one of those old-timey Western photos, but with like the entire cast. Just go ahead and put them all in period costumes.
Yep.
And do like the sepia tone on it. Yeah, that'd be great.
The glamour shot mall photo or whatever.
Exactly. Oh man. But yeah,
if we're talking about eccentric watches, though, I want to mention, because I forgot we're talking about Westerns. Brisco County Jr. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
That show is amazing and does a fantastic job of taking like Western and sci-fi and just weirdness and everything together.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Campbell is in it as Brisco, and it is just phenomenal.
Yes.
Underrated TV show of any Western TV shows.
It's been interesting that where we've covered so far in the franchise, there's been more than a few instances of guest stars on the episode who have also been on Brisco County Jr. And I always
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Quite a few actually.
So you've told people to watch it for sure then. It's definitely find that thing. It wasn't on anything forever. I don't know that it's anyway. It's out there somewhere. At
this point, a decent Google search, you will find all of it. And again, it's for those of you who don't know Bruce Campbell. He's kind of the nerd. He is the nerd's A-list celebrity. Like in terms of horror movies, in terms of genre, film, and television, a lot of television.
Yeah.
He's it. He's the guy. His first book, If Chins Could Kill, is a fantastic read.
Is it really?
It's really good. And then
absolutely.
It's rare that I have an audible response to a book, but his second book, and I don't say this, this is not hyperbole at all. It's his second book is laugh out loud funny. It's really good, and I highly recommend seeking it out, if you're interested in, obviously if you're listening to this show, there's a good chance you're into genre film and genre television. The first real big film that they made, Evil Dead, with Sam Raimi, who did the first Spider-Man trilogy and Darkman and all that stuff. That production is such a fascinating story in terms of genre film history. It's really it's a very DIY approach. They were like, how are we going to do this? Well, let's strap the camera to this board and let's just move it through these weeds. Like that's what they did.
Yeah. Run it backwards run
it backwards, play the film backwards. Or hell, you know what? Let's just strap Bruce upside down and make the water fall up.
Right? Yeah. All that stuff.
It's such a fun look into the DIY of like the late 70s, early 80s time in film production history. That I bought the Evil Dead compendium.
Are they doing the Evil?
Pardon my wife and dog running around in the back like bat crazy people. But yeah, it's such a fun slice of, film production history. Anybody, if there's any younger listeners out there who think, oh, I kind of want to get into film and television production, I highly recommend seeking out Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, Rob Tabbert, those guys, and the stuff that they did in their late teens, early 20s, which kickstarted their career. It's really fantastic stuff. Sorry, that's the end of my soapbox.
Hey, I'm glad you did it. It needs to be said as much as you can. So I'm for sure Bruce Campbell is awesome, and Brisco County Jr. And anyway. So.
Yes, those are just wonderful little slices.
That in there. I forgot about it and thought of it in the middle of everything, and was like, okay, this fits so perfectly.
Nice. Well, folks, next week, you now know him as the first Romulan cadet at Starfleet Academy. That's right, folks. We will be joined by Mr. Evan Evagora from Star Trek Picard to discuss Enterprise Season 3, Episode 10, Similitude, directed by LeVar Burton, which, of course, is available exclusively on Paramount Plus. I'm super excited. He's a super nice guy. He and I have had numerous conversations via social media, and I'm super excited to talk with him.
Congrats, man. That sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. It's to have a Picard cast member talk about an Enterprise episode directed by a TNG cast member is my brain.
You're getting everywhere. You're going all over.
Well,
man.
Chris, tell everybody where they can find you and your artwork and support you online.
You can go to jchriscampbell.com and pretty much get to my I'm not on Facebook as much as what used to be. I'm on Instagram as NitoBot. Anywhere you go, if you look for NitoBot, you're gonna find me doing something somewhere. So J. Chris Campbell and NitoBot will get you something that I've done or am currently doing.
And I am at Mr. Todd A. Davis on all of the socials. From all of us at the Computer Resume podcast, thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you in 10-4.
On Patreon and like, rate, review, and share on all your favorite platforms. Feel free to send us your subspace transmissions to computerresumepodcast@gmail.com or at Computer Resume on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Computer Resume podcast was created and produced by Mr. Todd A. Davis. Our logo was designed by Will Martin and Justin Bishop. The opening theme was produced by Justin Bishop, and our outro music was provided with permission by Dronode. Additional music was provided by Mr. Todd A. Davis and Gary Horn, and the voice of Computer Resume podcast and executive producer, me, Kat Davis. # LLAP. We'll see you next time.
Going through a Star Trek. We're doing Star Trek stuff in space. We probably got some phasers and shuttle pods, and we're gonna find a brand new race.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?